So being in this desk setup space hobby for quite some time now, I've tried out quite a bit of products. And being a broke boy, most of them are the budget options. So today I want to go over some products that aren't just a budget alternative in the sense that they're cheaper and can be compared to the more premium options, but rather products that pretty much perform the exact same for a way cheaper price point. So without further ado, let's get into it. So first thing on the list is monitor light bars. Now I know the idea of monitor light bars in general is kind of debated online whether they're worth it or not. The two common complaints you see is it causes glare on your screen or the light shines into your eyes, but I think that's coming from people that have never really owned one or looked into it. The way these work is, or at least the good ones work, is they use what's called asymmetrical lighting. So the light actually shines at an angle so it doesn't shine onto the monitor and it won't cause any glare. And as long as you set it up at the right angle, it doesn't shine into your eyes either. The one I'm currently using on my LG C3 was sent to me by BenQ. It's a very premium product. It feels great. It looks really nice. It's sleek, minimal design. The controller is wireless and looks just almost like an accent piece on your desk. However, it comes in at $180. For somebody who doesn't have a budget and is into the more premium office space accessory stuff, it's a really great product. However, there are some on Amazon that are way cheaper and do the exact same thing without making any compromises. The one I have here is $50. It's made by a brand called Onway. This one's curved because I had originally got it when I had a curved monitor. It still has the same wireless remote that you can change the color temperature from. It still has an auto dimming feature which will detect the amount of ambient light in the room and change the brightness of the light bar depending on that. There's another one out there I see on Amazon from a company called Quintus that again comes in at $50 and looks like functionality wise it does the exact same as the BenQ for more than $100 off. Second thing we got is keyboards. Now personally, I've never even owned the higher upper echelon of keyboards, you know, the $500 range. That stuff isn't really for me. But I've owned some pretty expensive ones coming in at around $100, $150. And I've owned some cheaper ones coming in at around $80. And if you're not really a keyboard snob, you just want something that works, there are some really great options out there. The brand that comes to mind immediately for me is Keychron. They have a whole catalog of different keyboards now, from full-sized to different layouts to wireless. And typically they come in a little bit cheaper than some of the more well-known brands, especially those Logitechs and Razors, for example. Now, I'm not super deep in the mechanical keyboard hobby. I know there are some other brands surfacing right now that are really good budget options, but if you are looking for a new mechanical keyboard, you're not looking to spend a whole bunch of money on them, I would check out r/budgetkeybs. People share their budget builds there all the time, and they seem to be keeping it relatively cheap compared to some of those larger name brand options. Which brings us into our next peripheral, headphones. Now, if you're looking to shop budget, you're probably going to want to go with a headset if you're gaming, so you have the microphone and the headset all in one. So first headset I want to look at is wired. That's the PC38X. Pretty much every audiophile out there recommends this as the best headset for gaming. The ones I have are the older model, the PC37X. Those are still available for a little bit of a cheaper price as well, and in my opinion, still outshine a lot of the competitors out there. Sennheiser is a really reputable brand in the headphone space, and this headset definitely shows why. The audio quality on these is outstanding. They're an open back, which you don't really see in the gaming space that often. Functionality wise, they tick all the boxes. They have the flip up mic, a volume adjuster on the headset itself, and all around it's just a really great headset. Now, second thing I've been looking for recently when shopping for any peripheral, mouse, keyboards, headset included, is wireless. Obviously, you're going to be spending a little bit more money here than wired because you have this added feature, and you're going to have to make some compromises, such as some added latency, maybe not as great of sound quality due to the compression that has to happen over the wireless signal. However, the Arctis Nova 7 are a really great option here. I went on a long hunt and went down a big rabbit hole trying to find the best wireless headset I could that wasn't like $300 like the Audis Maxwell, and these are what I ended up settling on. I'm not going to go too deep into the specs. I have a whole video on that headset here, but TLDR, it's about half the price as those Audis Maxwells. You're compromising some sound quality. However, as an all-around headset, I don't think you can beat them for $150. Now, the last peripheral we have to talk about is mice. We're actually in a really solid place right now for buying mice, not at a super expensive price. How I usually break it down is there's 3 tiers of mice. Your really expensive name brand Logitech, Razer, $150, $160 mice. Your medium ground mice that come in at around $100. These are some still pretty reputable brands, but you might be not getting those extra features. And then you have your lower tier mice, some brands that you've probably never heard of unless you're in the mouse hobby, which are mostly the cheap Chinese mice, and those usually come in at around $50. Now, why I said that we're in a really great spot right now for the mice buying market is we've kind of reached peak mouse performance. We're at the point where companies are charging more for things like 8,000 hertz polling rates, which most people are not going to notice a difference over 2,000 hertz anyway, and they're just charging more to add features that aren't really going to make a difference to anybody anyway, which means some of the older stuff, which is still really great, is becoming cheaper. Pulsar is a really great example of this. They released some mice earlier this year. They usually sit around that medium ground $100 price point range. They were some really great mice. A lot of people liked them, but they had some flexing issues, some creaking when you'd squeeze the shell. So Pulsar went in, revamped the structure of a lot of their mice, and now they're re-releasing them as a new version for $100, which means the older versions, which aren't even a year old yet, are like $60 on Amazon right now. So you can get a really solid mouse that released this year that would normally be like $100 for $60 right now, just because these companies are coming up with new ways to market the mice to make them more expensive when they really don't matter to the majority of people out there. Moving away from peripherals, something that everybody needs, a desk. The one you'll see behind me right here, this is the FlexiSpot E7 sit-stand desk, I believe. Doesn't really matter what model it is. The point is there's some really great sit-stand desks out there right now for a really cheap price. You know, my main desk that I use here that I'm sitting at now, the Vari electric standing desk, really great desk. The wood tabletop looks great, it feels great, it has this cool comfort edge design so my arms don't have to rest on any hard edges. However, it comes in at over $700, which is like the cost of a PC. Whereas something like the FlexiSpot sit-stand desks, although they might not have the most premium tabletop with comfort edge designs, and they might not come with a whole bunch of different cool accessories in the box, they might take a little bit longer to build. For somebody on a budget, they work just as well, and for under $200, some of them. For nearly $500 cheaper, I'd say it's definitely worth it. Now, I do want to say not everything is going to have a budget counterpart. As the old adage goes, buy cheap, buy twice, buy once, cry once. And that is the truth for a lot of things out there. Two in particular that I try not to really buy cheap for is monitors and PCs. However, there are some good deals that you can look for out there. On the PC side of things, if you're looking for new PC components or looking to build a new computer, Micro Center, if you live in the US and you're a Micro Center, typically they'll have this bundle deal where you can get a CPU, RAM, and a motherboard for like a really good amount of money off. I live like 3 hours away from the nearest Micro Center, but it was totally worth it to drive to. All in all, I think the whole PC cost me around $900, and if I were to price that out on Newegg, it would have been like $1,300 or $1,400. As far as monitors go, I know OLED's really popular now. I'm a huge proponent of OLED myself, so I wouldn't really recommend buying secondhand or used. However, you can find some really great deals at Best Buy, and most monitors and TVs will allow you to go in and see how many hours they were used for. So just make sure to check in store if they can. And then lastly, another great resource is r/build-a-PC sales. Everybody's always on there posting some really good sales that they find. So PC components, monitors, things like that, you can usually find people sharing some good deals on there. But that is the best budget tech for your setup. Again, just wanted to focus on some things that weren't just budget because they're cheaper than the more premium stuff, but you actually don't have to make any compromises really. You're just buying smarter. And thanks again to you guys for watching the video. If you've stuck around this long, really appreciate it. Please let me know if you have any questions, constructive criticisms, drop them down in the comments down below. Otherwise, appreciate you for stopping by, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.